Hey, everybody, guess what? We are live this afternoon. You don't want to miss this. This I find so fascinating. We're with Ryan to talk about John M. Green Insurance, and they've just hit a pretty big milestone. Ryan, how's it going this afternoon?
It's going great. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, so we were talking about that. You guys have just hit a big milestone. Tell me about this.
Tell you about the milestone.
Yes.
We kind of broke up a little bit there. Yeah, so I knew that we had been in business since 1920, but I didn't know the exact date. And so, with the help of Rick Warwick and Brian Lassner of the History Society and Walter Green, they've researched it. And through their research, they've determined it was in August of 1920 that the agency was started.
Wow.
And
So you're
so now we have an actual birth date, sort of. So it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, so 100 years in business in downtown Franklin.
Yes, ma'am. And there's some changes. What I didn't know until in the last couple of days was that when Mr. Green entered the business, it wasn't exactly John M. Green in 1920. There's been a lot of confusion and research in the history and different stories, but what we found out is that it was actually at the time it was Roberts, McGavick, and Green in 1920.
Okay.
Mr. Green at the time, his father-in-law was Mr. Roberts, and then Ewing Coleman Roberts, and who's a big name in Franklin in the history of Franklin. And so, and then it was also the McGavick family. It was Winder McGavick, which was Mr. Roberts' nephew. So Mr. Green was his son-in-law. So they went in business together. And then they kind of got out of the way, and it became Cannon, Chanel, and Smith, which was Newt Cannon, the governor of Tennessee. It was his grandson, and Mr. Hugh Chanel, which is a lot of people know Jimmy Gentry, it was his father-in-law. And so a
Okay.
lot of history back in the day before it actually they eventually moved out, and then it just became Mr. Green himself.
Wow. I feel like I just got a little history lesson about Franklin.
I have gotten a huge history lesson being around Rick Warwick.
He is man, I tell you what, if you want to know anything about Franklin, he is so interesting to talk to.
He is. He just sent me an email a minute ago because he's doing an article on it, and he was just asking me some questions, and I responded back, and he, some people to talk to, and he immediately, he's like, well, that person died, and this person's doesn't have family here anymore, and I mean, he just knows everything.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's been really exciting to take this on, and even though I'm not from Franklin, but to be able to be a part of the history and the story going forward is
Right.
really cool.
So how will you be celebrating the 100 years? I know obviously you said you've kind of been digging into the history and finding out the evolution. What do you have a celebration plan? Although obviously things are a little different right now.
It is. So yeah, so before we knew the birthday, I had this big plan of we were going to have a party over at the Mercantile Deli. Graham Ash was going to open up the restaurant one evening and host a big party for us. Well, then COVID hit. And in a
Right.
way, it was good because we were just going to have a party at some point, not knowing the date. And the more we've gotten into it, we found out the actual date. And so we know it's August. I would have liked to have had a party this month, but we've kind of held off. And I think we're going to shoot for maybe like October or maybe November when it cools down a little bit. More of the COVID stuff is passed. And then we're just going to invite everybody in downtown Franklin, all of our clients, uh, and just try to have a little gathering and a little celebration.
Right. So to let everybody know, you are continuing the John M. Green Insurance business. Tell me what your role is there.
So I officially own the business now. I came in about 2 years ago, and because Mr. Green was in his 90s and he didn't have a perpetuation plan, and God works in awesome ways that I knew his daughter through the insurance business for many years. And so I reached out to her, and they didn't want to take it over. And so I kind of took it over like about 2 years ago. But then after he passed, the estate and I worked out a deal for me to be the sole owner of it. So that I took that. So in February, I actually became the sole owner, and I was actually going to continue the name, but for risk management reasons, we needed to close that business, now formation, and reform a new entity. So it's now McKinney and Green. So it went from a lot of names before, and it dwindled down to one, and now we're back up to two. And
There you
so,
go.
I wanted to keep the Green name involved because it's so. I mean, it's been in there since the beginning, and so it's just now a new
Right.
chapter.
Right. Yeah. He continued. He was still working the business when you bought it, right? From what I remember.
He was, he was, and he probably should have done away with it years ago, but I think it's what kept him going so long. That and the Boy Scouts kept him
Right.
going forever. And so he came in every day. I mean, he was 92 when he passed last year, and he was still coming in every day. Um, just checking, reading the newspaper and just kind of hanging out. And it was just giving him something to do.
Right.
But
Yeah.
he didn't touch any accounts. He hadn't touched any accounts anymore. I was handling everything for him, for the last 2 years at least.
Right. You mentioned the Boy Scouts. He was definitely known as a Boy Scout leader. He had his meetings at the barn, I think they called it. I'm trying to
That's right.
remember. Yeah, for
That's
years
it.
it was a well-known thing, and he's such an incredible leader in our community. So he's dearly missed.
He is there. The years of there, and I had one of the Eagle Scouts was over here yesterday talking to me and was telling me about some of the stories. And so I think it was 240 something kids made Eagle Scout, which just at the percentage puts thousands of kids that have been through his troop over the years. And they all just said it's a one of a kind place. Nobody else has a farm dedicated to the Boy Scouts, and so they just all had a very unique experience.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's great to catch up with you and learn more about
Yeah.
this. If people need insurance, since you're here, tell us about where they can find more information.
Well, they can go to our website, which is McKinney-Green.com now. And then they can also call. Our phone number is 615-538-0900. So we've still got the old number, but we're trying to bring some things up to date.
Yeah.
And so we got a website actually, finally, and got a new phone system. So we're kind of coming into 2020.
Well, listen, it's great to catch up with you. Keep us posted on that
Donna, thank you.
celebrating the 100 years in business.
I will. Donna, you will get an invite for sure.
All right. I can't wait. You guys go check
Thank
it
you so
out. It's
much.
always good to get a little Franklin history while we were going through this and remembering that we've been around a long time around here.
We really have. And it's been so incredible to find out, the Greens have actually been here before Franklin. They were here in 1780 is when they received their farm as a Revolutionary War land grant. And so they still have that farm.
Wow. And that says a lot.
So,
During the fair, they were celebrating I can't remember how many farms there were, 4 or 5 that have been in the same family for 100 years in Franklin, which is pretty incredible.
It is. It really is. And just the history I've gotten to know and what I've seen of them, because it stayed in the family so long, and there's never been a big event like a fire or a tornado or something to destroy things, and nobody threw stuff away.
Right.
The article and stuff that that they have on file, I mean, it's just we pulled out of his desk drawer the other day a diary that the mayor of Franklin, when he went to fight in the War of 1812, led by Andrew Jackson, they went to New Orleans, and he kept a diary of it. We found that in Mr. Green's desk drawer the other day when cleaning it out.
Wow.
It's like, I mean, there's so much stuff like that that is found. They pulled out of a drawer the other day the actual land grant from the Revolutionary War, giving the family the property back in 1780, and it was just sitting in a drawer. Just incredible stuff that they've got sitting around.
Hopefully you
That
can
somebody
get
just
that out
didn't think so away.
Right. Hopefully you can get that out of the drawers and have it somewhere where people can see it.
They are. A lot of the stuff's getting donated to different different places locally to help, to help display it and show some of it and protect it for years to come.
Yeah.
So
Man.
It's been a fun story. It's been fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you,
100
Donna.
years.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much.
Let us know about that celebration. We'll let everybody know.
I will. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.